NuPhy have just released version 3 of the Air75. That's right, the third version, the third iteration of this keyboard. And I wanted to test it properly. So what better way to do it than hand it to my colleagues and ask them one important question. Would you trade your trusty Mac keyboard for something that costs £100? Let's see what they said. Right, before we talk about what these complete novices think about this keyboard, I want to give you a couple of my thoughts. If you're a pessimist, you're probably thinking, hey, this is the third version of a keyboard. All they're doing is just writing V3 and charging money for it. They just want more sales, right? Now, if you're an optimist, on the other hand, you're probably thinking, hey, they are listening to their customers. They're looking at the feedback that they're receiving and iterating upon it. And not only have they done that once, but twice. So where does this keyboard land? Are you in the pessimistic land or the optimistic land? I don't know if that's a good statement. But I think it's a mixture of both. I think there are a couple of really cool things they've done in this keyboard, alongside a couple of gimmicky things, which we'll touch upon very shortly. So the first cool thing is, of course, the nano switches with the 3.5mm travel. What does that mean? Well, it means that generally keyboards are pretty big and hefty. This one, as you can see, is labeled as and is actually a very slim keyboard with a slim profile. Yet, with the help of these nano switches, which have 3.5mm travel, it feels like you're typing on a full-sized keyboard. So that is the benefit of being on this keyboard with the nano switches. You don't lose the slimability, not a word, but the slimness of this keyboard, while still feeling the full oomph of a mechanical keyboard. That's what this gives you. The other good thing is the gasket mount, which makes this feel thick, and every keyboard now needs to feel thick, so even with the slim profile, you're getting this gasket mount, and it sounds good, feels good, sturdy, good. So they're the two good things that I found on this keyboard. Now, there are two bad things, in my opinion, about this keyboard, or two not so good things, or two things that I could leave. The first one, and the most obvious one, is this little knob. That one, not me, the knob on the keyboard. It's pretty flimsy, and also usability is questionable, right? Like, out the box, the first thing you can do is increase the volume and decrease the volume and mute the volume on your computer. How often are you doing this? Like, how often are you listening to music and you're like, wow, my favorite part's up, I need to turn the volume up? Or you podcast listeners out there, how often are you going like, oh, I want to really listen to this, let me turn the volume up? Like, rarely, right? Like, once you set the volume, you're done. Sure, you're more likely to mute it, for which you're pressing it down on, so that's okay, but I guess it's just a bit of a gimmicky feature, and the software does give you the ability to change this so that if you're in Photoshop or Figma, you can use it to zoom in and out or do some other cool things, but that's just, again, if you're using Figma, I don't know if you're going to be using that to zoom in and out of your files. I think it's a bit of a gimmick. The other thing is that the knob is a bit loose, so pushing it down, it really moves in every direction, and it's not really a good feeling to be having when the rest of the buttons feel so good, or the rest of the keyboard feels so good. So that's one thing that I'm not really a big fan of. I know what they're trying to do. I know they have a slimmer profile knob that's coming out, you know, maybe it's going to move less. But again, the features that you can do with this particular key is, you know, everyone's tried it. Everyone wants something new on their keyboard. This is one of those things, right? Like, it's the third version. They have to produce something that's slightly different from version 2, and they think this is one of those things that's going to make people move from maybe the first version to the third version, or all these new people who are getting into mechanical keyboards, they're like, oh, that's a cool thing. Let me buy that keyboard. So that's what this is, I think, in my opinion. I would like to end on a good note, however, which is that the battery life on this thing is insane. It goes on forever and ever and ever, and I don't really need to charge it. Having said that, there have been 2 occasions when I've been playing around with the software and like changing what the keyboard layout does or the lighting or whatever it is, and at that point I do need to connect it to my laptop, so it might be charging in the background a little bit, but it's not like I've left it on all day. It's just for a few minutes whilst figuring out what the setup is I want, what changes I need to make to the keyboard, and that's it. So since the day I got it, I've kind of done that a few times, but the keyboard hasn't run out of battery. It's pretty fantastic, right? Like, you can just leave it. It's great. So battery life is very good. So that's what I think about the new features. Couple good, couple okay, gimmicky, whatever you'd like to call it. But that's not why you're here. You're here to listen to what complete novices have to say and give you their opinion on whether they'd pay £100 for this keyboard, right? Here is what they had to say. My first colleague said, it's probably everything I would want out of a keyboard. It's simple, it's a fun design, it sounds great when you're typing, but I did type roughly 10% slower on this keyboard than my Mac keyboard, which isn't great, but because it felt so cool and sounded great and it looked great, I just wanted to type on it and get better at typing on it, so I think I can get back to my level in no time. And I would pay the £100. So the first person clearly loved this keyboard. I think they want me to give this keyboard to them, and I'd have to break the news that it's not happening.
Use this keyboard? Come on, come on. Come on, send it. Faster!
My second colleague had all the same things to say, all the nice things to say, with one exception. He called this keyboard chunky. And I was like, this is a slim profile keyboard. What are you talking about? And then I took a step back and realized, a lot of people use what's given to them on their laptops. Already a very small footprint, slim profile keyboard. Moving from something like this on a Mac or a Windows onto something which is mechanical, whether it's slim or not, is going to feel chunky to them. They will think it's fat or big or thick or whatever you want to call it. What NuPhy have done with the Air75 version 3 is they're giving people, newbies, the slimmest possible profile. Like, this is the slimmest that you can get in NuPhy's world, to make you feel comfortable with moving from something that's like this onto a mechanical keyboard. So that got me thinking, if you're new into the world of mechanical keyboards, or you're just getting started and you're looking for your first keyboard, what would you do? Well, you go on the internet, you'd type in mechanical keyboards, and you'd search for the top brands, and I'm sure NuPhy would come up, and then you'd be like, I want to get something that's been out for a while, and they've had the chance to iterate on it a few times. What about a version 3 of a keyboard? NuPhy's just released Air75 V3. That sounds like something that they've been doing for a while. That's how you get new people into mechanical keyboards. So where does it leave me and you with this review of this keyboard? Would I recommend it to you? Well, my colleagues would recommend it, but they're complete newbies. And so if you're a complete newbie and you're looking to get your first keyboard, you should definitely consider the NuPhy Air V3 as a starting point for £100. You know, it's a low-profile keyboard, it's got great key travel, it's got a couple of gimmicky features which you might enjoy for the first few weeks and then just use the keyboard itself, but it's a good starting point. For £100, you're getting a lot of keyboard. You're getting a lot of keyboard. So if you're new, think about it. And if you're old and you're into your keyboards, man, you're going to probably not like this review. But if you're using V1 of this keyboard, the V3 is a real upgrade. It's a serious upgrade, because I know the V1 was so thick. It was chunky. It was just too big. And going from V1 to V3 is a real upgrade, profile-wise, right? I think it's really worth your money to go from V1 to V3. Let me just leave it there for you. And that's all from me. This was the Air75 from NuPhy. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, comment, anything you want to do down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.